Honey, I am too through with Target. I am too through with Target. Do y'all see this? You know, the holiday is coming up on us. Halloween is coming. And guess what Target does? They doing this on purpose because black people, black Americans have boycotted Target for their crimes and their sins against black people. And this is how they respond. This is why we try to tell Jay-Z, but he doesn't listen. This is how they respond, and they know they are doing this on purpose. This is coming from the higher ups, you guys. They know better. They know better. So let's talk about it. If you guys are here, please press a 3. I'm going to break this all the way down for everybody in the room. Target put a black child, a black baby, in Jim Crow makeup for Halloween. They called it a glow under Blacklight Circus Clown. They had him posing with his hands up and his smile stretched into like a minstrel smile that looked like it was painted on by somebody's granddaddy who still misses the good old days, if you get what I'm saying. And when black people saw it and said, "What the F is this?" Target pulled it down, wrote an apology, and called us their black guest. Honey, honey, when I tell y'all, oh my God, when I tell y'all black guest sounded so much like colored that I had to read it twice just to make sure they didn't actually write it. Honey, 17,000 people on the internet felt the same way at the exact same time. 17,000. Because we know what that language is, right? Press 5 if we know what that language is. We know what that tone is. That's the tone of a company that just got caught and is trying to sound sorry without actually meaning it. They do not mean that sorry, you guys. But here's what makes this bigger than a costume. Here's what makes this a spiritual warfare. Target didn't accidentally stumble into this. They didn't wake up one morning and say, "Oops, we made a racist Halloween costume." No. They fired their DEI department earlier this year, y'all, knowing that it would affect so many black people. So many black people were employed by that, not being able to feed their families. They rolled back the diversity initiatives to appease the mega crowd, the Trump crowd, and his mob of angry white voters who think inclusion is oppression. If they include us to the table, that's oppression to them. It's so it's so backwards. It's so delusional. They got rid of the very people who would have looked at this costume and said, "Absolutely not." Because if the DEI diversity team was there, they would have said absolutely not. And what is it? Why is it so many white people love to go this dark when it comes to black people and black bodies and black death? They love to joke on black people death. They love to make a mockery of black people when it comes to slavery. This shit is an abomination what they're doing. Target is an abomination what they're doing. This is America's first sin. America's first abomination is putting black people from their original home and putting them in slavery and just destroying their whole lives. Honey, I don't like it. Absolutely not. Press 2 if you don't like this stuff either. Not in this lifetime. Not on this website. Honey, we're in 2026 and they're doing stuff like this. Not with this company name on it. And let me tell you, they approved the costume with a blackface mask. Red, overdone lips, like they used to do back in the day. They used to have the blackface with the big red lips. They had that. A black child model and a pose straight out of the 1920s minstrel show. That's not a mistake, y'all. That's somebody that thought about this. And they don't have any black people on the board no more. They took them all out. So, of course, you got all white people up there that are the R word. You got all the mega people. And this is what they want to push out here. Yeah, they want white people, white boys and girls to dress up like black people. Yeah, this is what they want. That's what happens when you fire the guardrails and let the car drive off the cliff. Okay? And don't let me get started about the no China manufacturer. Remember that? Don't tell me about no third party vendor. I don't care who sold the fabric. Somebody at Target, the white folks at Target, multiple white somebodies at Target had to sign off on this. A photographer had to set up the shot, right? A casting director had to pick that child, a black child. A marketing team had to look at the final image and say, yeah, this is going to work. Yeah, this is going to work. Put it on the Target website. Listen, a C-suite executive had to approve the holiday rollout for Halloween. And not one of them, not one of those white people up there, not a single white person said, wait, this looks like Jim Crow. Not one white person in that entire pipeline knew enough black history to recognize a minstrel pose when it was staring them right in the face. And they used a child to do it. They used a child to do it. But they can't recognize it because they don't know black history. And I think they do recognize it, but they want to push this out here. They want to hurt us. Okay? But some people feel like they don't know enough black history to recognize a minstrel pose when it's staring them right in the face. Or worse, they even knew. Press 7 if you guys feel like they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what this was. And they did it anyway because they are calculated that the apology will be cheaper than the courage to say no. When I tell you this is the white ritual they got going on, this is a ritual they got going on. Target is demonic. I tell you that. Target is demonic. This is abomination, honey. And they're going to get our black kids to do this. When I tell you, a commenter said, this was approved at multiple senior levels. You don't move into production on holiday rollout without approval from the senior C-suite executives. That's not a conspiracy theory, y'all. That's how corporations work. That's how a $100 billion company puts a product on its shelves. And 10,000 people co-signed that comment because they know, we all know, this ain't Target's first time at the racism rodeo. Somebody reminded us in the comments, they made this mistake a lot of times before. And I want to know, press 9 if Target have made this mistake before. And is it really a mistake, you guys, or they're doing this shit on purpose? I don't think it's a mistake. I think they're doing this on purpose. It's part of the Target ritual. It's part of their demonic ways. This is what they do. Okay? 7,000 people agreed with me, honey. 7,000 people. Remember the last time Target had to apologize for playing in our faces. And the time before that, at some point, you stop calling it a mistake and call it a damn pattern because that's what it is. At some point, we got to realize this is not a bug in the system. This is the system. This is definitely the system. And the pose, honey, I have to edit it, but the whole pose, the child with his hand up, big old smile, the black gloves, honey, the amazing Lucas then broke it down and showed it side by side with the actual Jim Crow imagery. And when I tell you it was one match for match, like they had this child do the same pose that the black people or the white people with white blackface were doing a minstrel show. You remember back in those days where white people would paint themselves as black, or they have the black person do all that paint on themselves, and they over exaggerated with the red lips and all that. They had this child posed exactly like that back in the 1920s, where they have always told us they wanted to make America great again, and this is their idea, and they want to push it on the kids. That exactly what they do. They want to push it to the kids. I mean, it looked traced like they traced it. Okay, it's the same. Like they found an old postcard from the 1925 and said, let's make this kid friendly. Let's remake this. Okay, let's add some glow in the dark paint and call it a clown. And then this is the part that make me want to just scream. When people got mad, Target tried to fix it by putting a white child in the same costume, saying, see, this ain't racist. A white kid can do it too. A white kid can be blackface too. A white child in blackface, masked with red lips, y'all. A white child in a digital minstrel makeup. They are so obsessed with us. They are so obsessed with destroying us, with making a mockery of slavery, with pushing slavery. They are obsessed, and it's coming from the top. These are not white poor people. These are billionaire white people that want to control, that is sitting up in that administration with Trump now. These are the same people, y'all. Y'all need to wake up, okay? They thought that was the solution by just switching it in with a white kid. They thought by swapping the model would just make it all better. Instead, they made it 10 times worse, if you're asking me. Now, it looked like a white kid doing blackface for Halloween. Now it looked like the costume itself was the racism, not just the model. They exposed themselves. They showed us they didn't understand the problem because they don't hire anybody who would explain the problem to them. They fired those people in the DEI and the initiative programs, remember? But like I said, they're doing this shit on purpose. Press 4 if you guys believe they're doing this shit on purpose. They're doing this on purpose. And here's the spiritual warfare. Here's where God comes in, honey, because God is in everything. God sees the boardrooms where they make their decisions are made. God sees the emails where somebody said, this tested well with our focus group. God sees the accounts who calculated that a $25 costume would generate more profit than the Backlash could cost them. And I bet you it's still going to be a whole bunch of white people buying that outfit. I bet you. God sees the executive who approved the apology template before the costume even hit the shelves because they knew it was coming. So they already had their apology rating, honey. They already had the apology template waiting. And God is not fooled by deeply sorry people. God knows the difference between repentance and a PR campaign. God knows that a company which truly regretted harming its black guests would not have fired the DEI team in the first place. God knows that you cannot apologize for a sin you still keep committing. And Target is still committing that sin, honey. Every single day they operate without black people in positions of veto power. They are committing the same sin. So here's what I want us to do. Here's what you do when corporations show you who they are for the 15th time. Stop shopping there. Stop shopping at Target, period. I know you like the aesthetic, the red buggies. I know the dollar spot is cute. I know their home decor section make you feel like you got your life together. But honey, you are not a guest in that store. You are a customer. And a customer who is not respected is a fool who keeps going back. Honey, y'all know in the comments, one person even said it. We still ain't going back. Another person said, Target be moving like a BD. Okay, always missing the mark and doing the wrong thing. And that came from 10,000 people agree with that. They see the pattern. Another person said this is what DEI was supposed to prevent. And another person said they got rid of the DEI people who would have told them this was a no. See, people see it, y'all. People always see it first. So I want y'all to hold y'all dollars, hold them tight. Let Target feel what it feels like when the black community stop making excuses for corporations that treat us like props. Let them stock drop. Let they stock drop, honey. Let the Halloween section rot on the damn shelves. Let them explain to their shareholders why the black gas decided to take our money to businesses that don't require annual apologies for racism. Because if you keep shopping at Target after this, after they fired DEI, after they approved Jim Crow for kids, after they called you a guest in a statement that sounded like it was written in 1955, then you are not a victim, honey. You are a volunteer. And I refuse to volunteer for my own disrespect. It won't happen on my watch. Stay strong, stay dangerous, stay aware, and never let a corporation that puts a black baby in a minstrel makeup tell you they value your guest experience. Won't ever happen to me, I can tell you.